Hey there, my name is Pravus, and welcome to Surviving the Abyss. This is a brand new survival city builder where we will be establishing a base on the horrifying, deep, dark depths of the ocean floor. The game is actually being released into early access starting today on January 17th. It is developed by Rocket Flare Studios and published by Paradox Arc, who so happen to be the sponsors for today's video. A big thank you for that. They wanted me to show off this game and what it has to offer, and also let you guys know that for the first week of early access, the game will be 10% off. So if after watching this video you like what you see and you might want to pick it up for yourself, well, this might be the best time to do so, and there will of course be a link in the description down below. We're going to jump directly into a new game, but I will warn you, this game's a little bit creepier than some of the similar titles you've seen in the past. I think you can handle it, just be forewarned. Now let me start by giving you a brief synopsis for the backstory of this game. Back in the 1950s, humanity was close to understanding the human genome and turned its attention to the potential of human cloning. After several experiments were conducted, we successfully recreated human life, at least for a little while. The life form was inherently unstable due to genetic mutations and died after a short period of time. After several of such failures, this eventually soured the project with the public, leading to protests and eventually riots. To quell those riots, the government officially shut down the program. At least that's what they tell people. The military, however, was still very interested in the potential of human cloning for military applications. So they have authorized us to establish a base far away from prying eyes at the bottom of the ocean floor to continue with the experiment and perfect human cloning as a technology. Now you might think that the ocean floor is an unusual choice. It actually makes sense for a couple of reasons. One, who's going to explore the depths of the ocean? No one. So this is going to remain a very top secret program. But secondly, there is a tremendous biodiversity at the ocean floor, and if we can harvest some of that DNA, we can use it to accelerate the human cloning process. And this leads us to our base at the bottom of the ocean. Welcome to the Abyss. Pretty dark, ain't it? Alright, so I do have introductory tips turned on for this game, but I won't be using most of them because I have a pretty good idea what I want to do. The first thing you need to understand is that we need to establish a sustainable form of power, oxygen, and food in order to sustain life down on our base. To do that, we will also need to extract some fuel to power up our generators, and we'll need to gather up building materials to expand the base and its capabilities. Only once we have that infrastructure set up will we be able to begin the human cloning process, and that's actually very important we do that because it is the only way to properly grow your population. Otherwise, we're going to be stuck with only 12 people, and that's just not going to be good enough. The resources you need to be aware of are going to be steel, concrete, and quartz glass for the beginning constructing materials. Iron eventually can be turned into steel. We'll also eventually discover aluminium, copper, lead, and oil. Coal is our early game form of power. Over on the top left, you see our population, our food, some special genomes we'll use for cloning, and on the top right, we have power and oxygen. We need to keep these in the positive. To start off, we are going to make use of some submarines. I've got 2 building submarines and 3 mining submarines that are currently idle. Let's go to buildings down at the bottom. We're going to select the mining relay, and we're going to look for some resources that we can extract. This is a pretty darn good location, but we can move these around later, so don't be too worried about it. I'm going to click right here. And then using this, I'm going to assign 2 of my mining rigs to gather up anything in range, and then 1 to specifically gather up coal so I have plenty of fuel to go around. All right? The next thing I'm going to do is go to our exploration tab right here, and I'm going to build up a sonar tower because this is going to help me discover some more resources pretty early on. The game actually doesn't recommend you do this right now, but I want to know where things are, so that will help inform my base layout as we continue to play. What do we find here? Our coal extraction point. Perfect, that's exactly what I was looking for. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is start setting up some life support. For that, we are going to want an oxygen generator, and you can see these little blue lines on buildings here. This represents the different tunnel hatches that you can use to connect up the base. So we're going to set up something like this, deliberately a little further away from the rest of the base, like so. Then we're going to connect up a tunnel from here over to here. Perfect. Now our workers are going to have access to the site once it has been built. I also need some extra power in order to sustain the oxygen generator, so let's get a coal generator, and we'll set you up, I guess something like this is going to be fine, and again, get a tunnel connected. Then we want to get a power line. This is going to generate power. We want to send it over here, so we'll click on right like this, and then I'm going to drag these up like so, connecting up a full network, and this is where you can place down your buildings and expect them all to be powered. The next thing we'll need to do is get some food, and the game's about to direct me toward that. A protein harvester is one option where you harvest some of the fish on the bottom of the ocean to get some food, and that is pretty good for as far as nutrition, but it's very resource intensive. A much easier and cheaper option at the beginning of the game is a carbohydrate farm. We can't build one of these yet though, so what we have to do is go to the technology tree, and there are several different categories you can choose from. We want to go under life support and unlock the carbohydrate farm. For this, in the top right, you can see we have 75 research data currently available, 30 of which are going to go to the farm. Let's go ahead and unlock it. Now we can go under our life support, and that's the farm I'm looking for. Just get some people working over here. Because this is all connected by a single network, there's going to be oxygen, and we are now producing low-quality food. Now, do be aware that if people are eating nothing but low-quality food for a long period of time, they'll get their calories and survive, but they will be malnourished, which is a bit of a problem. That said, it is definitely your easiest way to go. I don't recommend going for the high-quality food early on. You simply will not be able to sustain your population on those resources. Now the game wants me to simply sit back and stockpile up 75 food. Also, build up a couple of living quarters. So let's go to our population and set up some basic housing. I'm thinking something like this, and this should be more than enough. All right, that's all looking pretty good. Now, we were talking about some coal extraction points. So right now we're just scavenging from the ocean floor, but we can find actual good deposits that we can exploit. For that, I need to go under technology. We'll go to, I think it's under resources. Yep, and we can unlock the coal extractor. So let's go ahead and do that. But we can't place the coal extractor in the darkness of the abyss. We won't have any idea what we are doing. So I need to get some light in this general direction. For that, we're going to go under exploration again and place down a light tower. And this is going to make a nice, safe location for us to continue our building operations. First, though, I've used the sonar tower to explore for habitats, and we actually found quite a few in our immediate vicinity. This is where fish congregate, and we can use that either for food, for power, or we can extract DNA, so it's important to find these. I'm going to go ahead and place the light tower in an area that should cover both of these areas, just to be space efficient, because these light towers do take up quite a lot of power. And Lord Pravus said, "Let there be light," and voila! There was light. Okay, now we know what we're working with. There's the coal deposit. With that, I can go ahead and place down my coal extractor. Looks like there's a couple different locations over here. I don't know if they are two separate deposits or still all one, but this should be fine. We'll go ahead and place you over here. Now we need to set up a much longer tunnel all the way off over here. Okay, so with all this taken care of, the next thing we want to build is a research lab. Over here under research, we can find a basic research lab, which is going to take more power than I currently have available, so we're going to need to get another generator at the same time. Okay, that should be enough power for us, even with one person working here for now. Now we can get the research lab up and running. What this does is it's going to start generating some of those research points per day, so we'll be able to conduct a lot more research. We do need to construct some fauna traps around some of these habitats shown over here. So for example, there's an abundant cluster of spider crabs that do congregate over here. I'm going to go ahead and go under genetics. I'm going to place down a fauna trap at the cost of some steel, and this is going to capture some of those crabs so I can use them for cloning. So by clicking on this, we can see that every couple of minutes we will be capturing some of the fauna and tossing it into the DNA pile. While we're waiting for that to get captured, let's go ahead and place down a cloning lab. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. Right over here, I guess next to the research lab does make a bit of sense. Happy with that. This is where our dark, dastardly cloning projects are going to begin. There we go. Okay, we now have 4 sets of spider crab DNA. So what I'm going to do is go to the cloning screen over here. And now we can assign some of the DNA that we've harvested. 1, 2, 3, 4 is the most I'm currently able to harvest. This means I'm now going to have a 48% chance of a successful clone of a generalist population, with a fair bit of mutations decreasing the clone's lifespan. If we had other types of fauna, I don't know what kind of fish exist out here, but if we had any others, we can mix and match, trying to get the best chance of a generalist with the minimal chance of a mutation, if possible. For now, though, we'll go ahead and begin cloning, and this is going to give us 4 attempts to actually get a human clone. Now, the game is recommending that I build up an alloy furnace. We could unlock that. If we go over back under resources, we can unlock this for 60 science points, which is no big deal. I've got plenty at the moment. We could also improve, let's say, the efficiency of our coal generators. We could go for more air purifiers. That could be kind of nice. There's a few things down here. A hospital wouldn't be a half bad idea. Recreational buildings exist. Docks, those will be important at some point as well. And we can get some upgrades for our research. I do think it is worth getting an extra slot so you can have an extra genome attached as you continue doing some cloning. The more genomes you can attach, the more success chance you're going to have. So I'm going to go ahead and unlock this now. Also, let's boost up the cloning time by, let's say, 10%. Alas, the first clone was an abject failure. Dang it. Oh, hey, a successful clone on our second attempt. All right, Ryan Brown has been cloned. Now, he's only likely to live for about 51 days before his genetics completely break down and he dies a horrible death. So this is not a permanent solution, really, unless we can perfect the cloning process. But at least our population has jumped up to 18. And having population is probably your biggest bottleneck in the game, at least in the early game, but probably later on as well. You'll constantly need a new source of clones in order to continue replacing the ones that die off, and ideally, you get enough successes that they live a long time and you can build out enough population to actually fulfill whatever production chains you want to do. Got an alloy furnace, so at least now our iron is being put to good use. Now, something you need to be aware of is as we build out more of these industrial buildings and coal generators and so on, all that gas and CO2 and other fumes have to go somewhere, and the answer is it goes into our oxygen network. So there's a lot of different map modes over here in the bottom right. I'm going to take a look at the oxygen lens, and you can see that we're actually moving to unsafe oxygen levels on several different fronts right now because too many industrial buildings are all hooked up to the same oxygen network. So what we could do, if we want to, is actually split the oxygen network by cutting off this tunnel, which is why I actually spaced it the way I did. Set up a new oxygen generator over here just for some simple life support with the residences, the food productions, anything that doesn't create a lot of pollution, and let this be its own separate network. That way, at the very least, we can contain the damage. Not solve it, but contain it. The other solution might be to build some of these basic air purifiers, but that requires a resource I currently don't have access to, so don't be lulled by that one. It's not going to work. What we're going to do instead is go over here. Actually, yeah, we'll do this in a second. First thing we're going to do is get an oxygen generator set up like so, just like before with the others. There we go, and then we are going to delete this tunnel completely, therefore separating these into separate systems. Now, the problem with this is that people can't get from their residences to their jobs over here. They still need a way of getting around. For that, we're going to go over to our, I was going to say exploration, but I think actually what I need to do is do some research. Stand by, hold on. Let's go to exploration and, research the docks. That's what I want. We'll get that sucker upgraded, and now we can build a dock over here. And that's going to connect it, let's say, I don't care, right here's fine. It doesn't have to be far. It's right next to the base, but it's not next to the base. The reason this is going to work for us is because we actually do start the game with a single transportation sub. So we are able to move people around between these areas. We just have to hook them up with a dock. So now we have clean air over here, and the dirty air is all contained. Hey, another successful clone, Glenn Brown. All right, we're up to 20 population. Excellent, a partial success for humanity. Now, we do need to get a submarine factory. The purpose of the factory is pretty straightforward. We want to be able to build more submarines. So at the submarine factory, they want us to build up an exploration sub. And that is a good idea. I also kind of want to get some mining subs, though, because the more of these I have, the more resources I'll be able to gather up from the floor. So let's start with the exploration sub, but afterwards, I'd like to build out at least 2 more mining subs if possible. And alas, we've also used up all of our spider crabs over here, so there's nothing else to be done in this fauna trap, at least for a bit. Now, at some point, we could go for a marine stabilizer, which is going to basically stabilize the population of this if you hook it up to a network so that this stuff actually replenishes and doesn't go away. But for now, I'm kind of okay with this as it is. Okay, this is our exploration sub, and we'll be able to use this to start exploring the ocean floor. What do I mean by that? Well, if you look at the bottom right over here, you'll see that we have submarine information. If I click on this, it shows the approximate map. So this is everything I've explored so far. These are all of the habitats I've found. Zoom out a bit, and we can see that there are a bunch of different biomes in the game. The most immediately accessible are the coral reef and the kelp forest. These are Somewhat dangerous, but overall not that bad. And then you have the dark glows and the basalt columns and the volcanic biomes very far away. Not looking to mess with those for at least a little bit, if you don't mind. Let's use our sonar tower and see if we can find a few points of interest that I can explore. So maybe something like that. And then, is there another one? There's another one over here and another one up over, let's say, here. Okay, see if we can find anything interesting. Several, actually, it turns out. Okay, let's see. We have a sunken plain. We have a cave system, which should be relatively easy to deal with. And we've got a sea mine over here, also low difficulty. Okay, so what should we take a look at first? How about we send a simple exploration submarine with the only unemployed person I've got, takes a little food and some coal, and off we go. So there goes our exploration submarine. You can see where they are going in order to do this, and whenever they arrive at their destination, they're going to drop off a little flare over here. This is a very temporary period where I could build things over here if I so desired. Let's see, what do we do with a World War II era fighter plane? We could gather up some research, or we could exploit it for resources. How about we get some research data? I always like a little bit of extra research, and then the sub is going to be on its way back home. That was worth an extra 15 science. I mean, hey, okay, that's not so bad. Now, the game is trying to tell me that I should go explore some of the nearby biomes. That's not a bad idea. Where should we go first, do you think, though? Should we go to one of the coral reefs? That's a little far away. Is there anything that's a little bit closer that makes sense? No, this might be the best choice. All right, let's go ahead and send at least one person. We could send a couple other people, and that is necessary if you want to increase the success chance of actually the sub arriving. And I really would rather not lose the sub or the person for obvious reasons. Now, you could try to send your base all the way over here, but that would be very, very risky and expensive. What might make more sense is to go under technology. You can research the outpost like I have. At that point, you then go under exploration, and you can spend a bunch of different resources to establish what is effectively a mini base. So a little outpost over this way, like so. Now, you can only really do this while there's a flare active. So if I wait on this too long, my window of opportunity will be gone and I'll have to send the sub back out over here. If we can get that set up, though, and attach a dock to it, we would be able to treat it like a second base and send people over here to work different buildings. Now I'm going to get myself a second carbohydrate farm over here because I'm starting to run kind of dangerously low on food. With 23 people consuming food, we're now going to be producing about 20 per day. That seems like we're going to be in a deficit, yet it seems like it actually does give me a small surplus, so hopefully that ends up being okay. Whoa, what do we find over here? We found a vestige from a war in the not-too-distant past. Do we want to exploit it for resources and risk a crew member? Sure, why not? That's probably going to be fine, right? And a critical malfunction in the power generator. Well, hopefully it wasn't one that I really needed. We have a backup, so it'll be fine. Whenever a building does get damaged, there's a repair button up over here. Just takes a little bit of resources and you can get this thing fixed. Not a huge deal at the end of the day. I'm going to try setting up an outpost over here in the kelp forest, and hopefully this ends up being okay. So it's a lot of resources to spend. I think it's going to be well worth it in the end, though. So right over there should be fine. Imagine we're going to find a lot of awesome DNA and stuff in the kelp forest. Lots of things must live over here, right? Oh, somebody died. That's unfortunate. In an oxygen generator. Looks like there was an accident at work. That can happen, unfortunately. Not much you can do to stop it, I think, but there are other things you'll have to worry about. Right now you can see, for example, that our crew are malnourished, and I did say that was going to happen. You can also find that people start having some respiratory issues if they're in the polluted oxygen for too long. One thing you can do is build up a hospital, and just by having somebody working over here, if somebody is getting to the point where their life is in danger from something like this, well, then they might just pop in over at the hospital, and you can save their life at the last second. Now let's see, if I'm going to continue with the cloning process, I kind of need to get some more light. Somewhere like over here, for example, could unlock a lot of fauna, plus a concrete extraction site. I could see that being useful. So we'll build right out over here. And there we go. Okay, so we see the concrete extraction site. I don't think any of my existing extractors are good enough to get anything there. If that's what I want, we need to go over here and get a drill extractor unlocked, which I can do. We'll have to hook that up to the oxygen network like many other things. Anything else that jumps out as super important? It wouldn't be a bad idea to get something like, let's say, a mess hall or a garden dome. The dome can produce a little bit of oxygen, which is nice, and improve air quality. The mess hall just takes less power. But what it does is gives people additional recreation, and they don't have any problems with eating up low-quality food. I'm going to say that's a worthwhile investment. The outpost over here is nearly set up with the dock in place. Only thing I'm missing right now is going to be a material stockpile, which we can build. Well, hello, unicorn crestfish. Okay, oceanic sunfish. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff down over here. Oh man, we're going to be able to extract so much DNA. Oh, now this is a little concerning. We have picked up a distress signal. A distress signal down here at the bottom of the ocean. That seems a little suspicious. Where is that thing? There's a point of interest actually right next to an outpost. Oh, hello. Is that the one we wanted? No. That's a shipwreck. What about this one? There's the distress signal. Wow, it's far away. Wow, it's really far away. 5 crew would be necessary. Jeez, dude, that's a bit much. I did discover something new over by the outpost. Lead is over here. Awesome. Okay. So that's a whole new resource for me to work with. No idea what to do with it, but we found it. Now this is a smidge ominous. Our sonar is picking up something above the research facility. We don't know what it is, but it looks unusually large. Maybe a false reading? I don't know. There's a reason this place is called the Abyss. Anomaly detected. Oh, this ain't gonna be good. All right, our light tower has been attacked. Whoa! Alrighty then. Yeah, scariness. Something don't like our lights. Gosh, it looks like it's got some weird hands. Oh, what is this freaky weird thing? Well, there goes the lights. We need to get that thing repaired ASAP. Obviously, we don't want people working in darkness at all. Yeah, we're under attack, ladies and gentlemen, by something bizarre with lots of tentacly hand things up above where we can't see them. Oh God, there it goes again. God help us all, whatever just hit us was huge. Descriptions among the crew vary, but we think it's a living creature. We need to take measures. Now, upgrade our lighting system to output UVC light. All right, so that's a new thing we can do in the tech tree right over here. Under exploration, UV mode, 60 science, I have that, we're fine. Okay, and what you can now do is click on this UV mode, which is going to, we don't have enough fuel or something. Why can't I click on it? Let me click on it, let me click on it! Okay, well what it's supposed to do, whenever we get access to this thing again, is send UV light all over the place to chase away the monster. But the downside is it costs twice the fuel. The attack is over, at least for now. But who knows when that monster is coming back. Right. Okay, we've identified kind of a major problem, kind of a big threat. What do we do now? That's a great question. First off, let's turn off the sonar. We don't need as much power. I need to find that distress signal and see what the heck is going on. I'm going to reduce the number of people who are working in the power station by at least a fair amount. Probably can save all of them. That gets me down to 4 power. That's still in excess. Turn off the hospital. And I'm going to go ahead and do a quick exploration mission. I say quick. 5 people is kind of a lot of people to send on this suicide journey, but here we go. Godspeed, gentlemen. Hopefully you find something important. I mean, they're calling to us for distress, but if there's anyone else out there, can you let them know that I'm also feeling like I'm in a bit of distress right now? All right, what do we find? We discovered what appears to be another research lab. We didn't even know anyone else was down here. It appears to be abandoned. Oh, that's a bit concerning now, ain't it? Investigate it for wildlife and get some extra genomes or some research data. You know, genomes can always be exciting. Common ones? Okay, fine, sure, I'll take it. So we've dropped a flare at the location of the research lab. They're recommending that we place another outpost over here. I guess I can try. I think I have enough resources for that. Do I? Yeah, barely, actually. I have just enough concrete. All right, let's go ahead and drop this sucker over here. It's kind of far away from the base, though. Little scared that weird tentacle monster, Mr. Anomaly, might drop down and say hi. Okay, and as before, we now need to get crew, power, and oxygen all the way out there. Hopefully someone can figure out what the heck is going on. Why would there be a second base over here? Unless we're not the first group that the military sent down, and something terrible happened to them. Setting up another base over here scares me just a little bit, but if that's what we have to do, that's what we've got to do. We'll start with the basics. As before, we need to get some oxygen, we need to get some power. And I also need to find some resources over here so we can actually, do anything with it. The music's getting a little bit creepier, by the way. I'm just gonna say that, I'm brave, I'm fine, everything's fine, but like at the same time, it's not really fine. 4 crew are reaching the end of their life. Yes, that would be a problem. We should probably get some more clones online, shouldn't we? We're getting some results back from the abandoned lab. Alright, the bulkhead doors were forced open from the inside just before the signal was activated. Well, that seems unusual. Yeah, the depth and the pressure of the ocean should have made that physically impossible. But alright, we've resealed that. So now we are producing some more research data, but if we want to learn more, we need to assign an engineer. Now, I do have an engineer, actually. The game did give me one. It's this guy right over here. Or girl, sorry. Caitlin Stockdale. Yeah, and you're not exactly looking very healthy. We're going to go ahead and take you off of that job. And we need to send you all the way off in this direction. And some of our clones are dying off from old age. Knew that was going to happen. All right. Cloning process is far from perfect, but the research must continue. Get rarer genetic material, and we can get specialized crews. Capture a specialist genome and clone a specialist. Yeah, I would love to do that. I absolutely would love to. But first, I gotta find the right kind of habitats. And the good news is, over in the kelp forest, I'm pretty sure there's an absolute ton of awesome habitats. Still, though, this is a lot more exploring we need to do. And if we take a look at the map here, you can see just what I've found, and there's an absolute ton. These are the easy biomes. Oh man, imagine what happens when you get to a volcanic biome. Bet you find some awesome DNA over there. But then you gotta worry about that gosh dang anomaly. Speaking of which, where is it? I know it's lurking above me, just waiting to strike. I know it. Found a couple more useful habitats. The anglerfish and the sperm whale. Those sound pretty good. I'm not sure exactly how the fauna traps are gonna be able to capture an entire sperm whale, but you know what? I appreciate your optimism. Unfortunately, the only way you get a sperm whale is if you're willing to sacrifice some of your other bait. We could sacrifice a rosefish, for example. Yeah, kinda sucks to do that, but if we're trading up to a much better form of DNA, worth it, right? In order to make some people happier, I'm gonna try placing a garden dome area next to some workplaces. I had placed them by the housing, thinking that that was going to help me, but I don't think that's actually the way that this is going to work. You want it close to some workplaces. You can see up here in the top left, we do have something called crew relations. If this gets low enough, at some point people might start delivering me a few ultimatums, and that could be a problem. The more crew die, including from the natural clone deaths, I say natural, nothing about this is at all natural, but then we're gonna, continue having problems. We need to stagger the deaths carefully. Sperm whale fauna hath been captured. Ooh, it's pretty darn good and can result in getting a scientist. I'm gonna try rolling these dice over here. 36% chance with 4 uses to get a scientist. Sounds good. Gosh, why did the music have to get so scary? You know what they say about, like, looking into the abyss? You stare really long enough into the abyss, it stares back into you. I'm just saying. There's a reason the abyss is renowned in all sorts of horrible, horrible legend. It's because it's freaking terrifying, dude. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Oh, anomaly detected, where? Turn on the UV! Defend ourselves. Yes, you don't like UV lights, do you? No, you don't. Building got damaged. Oh, it's over here. Or something. Yup, there it is. Oh, gosh. Why does it look like tentacles with almost like hand things coming from them? That's so freaking weird. Attack is over, they say. Oh, okay. Okay, that's good. Oh, finally we get a scientist. Okay, we got our first specialist clone. That should boost up our research rather considerably. And now the game is recommending that I go and explore the basalt columns biome. Yeah, that sounds great and all, but I'm kind of having some problems. I'm running low on food. I don't have enough clones. They're all dying too fast because the cloning process sucks. But you know what? It's fine. As we continue getting bigger and better DNA and stuff, including, it should be some anglerfish over here now. Yeah, that's a thing. We'll just go ahead and toss some jellyfish, I guess, over here. We'll be able to continue boosting up our clones over time, but there's definitely a delicate balance in this game as far as managing your resources. trying to make sure you don't run into anything too crazy. Don't overexpand too suddenly, or else you're going to run into a bit of a death spiral in terms of your population, which is kind of what I'm facing at this exact moment. But overall, yeah, it's dark and creepy. And what the heck even is that anomaly? I mean, I can hypothesize abandoned research lab that was blown open from the inside despite the incredible pressures of the depths, tentacles with weird claw-like things coming out of it. Just saying, there's a mystery to be solved here. But we're not going to find out what it is in this particular video. That's something you'll have to explore on your own. Thank you all very much for watching, and thank you again to Paradox for sponsoring this video and getting me early access to the game. Remember that this game is going to be on sale for the first week of the early access. 10% off. So if you guys want to pick it up for yourself, now's the time. There is a link in the description down below, and I recommend you click on it. Be sure to hit that like button for the video if you don't mind. Leave a comment, subscribe, make sure you hit that notify bell, and I will see you guys next time.